So yeah, we're gonna focus in on core work. So also I'm on the road, so I'm gonna be using them. This is my dad's yoga mat. It's actually, this house is where I first started doing yoga, and such a long time ago, in the 80s. It's a tiny little room, so I've designed the class to be quite compact. So we're going to be doing quite a lot of small, powerful movements, you could say, and we're going to focus on the core. So the core is to do with kind of structural stability and the deeper muscles, particularly around the spine. And they're often, we think of like the abdominal area, the front of the body. So there's I come across an interesting couple of guys on the internet yesterday, and they were talking about 3 trainings for core work, which I thought were quite interesting, and it resonates with me. So one of them is basically flexing. So we're bending towards the center of the body. So we did quite a lot of that last week, and we'll do some more of that. So you're either bringing the legs towards the body, or you're bringing the body towards the legs. So that's like engaging, contracting the front of the body to train the muscles in the abdomen, in the hip flexors, in the groins to a certain extent. Okay, so we'll look at that today. The second way of training that area, so what they were advocating was like hanging and lifting the legs up. We're not going to be doing that, but if you ever feel like trying that, you just hang and lift the legs, and that'll strengthen the whole of the front of the body. The second area, which we are going to be doing some work on, is all fours. I guess with all fours, what you're doing is you're training the middle of the body to hold its position. Yeah, so a classic would be like the plank, or we're going to be doing more gentler, like tiger stretch. Okay. And then a third category, which I've clocked it in my own body, but I hadn't really thought about it before, was like weight lifting or carrying weight. So these guys were they had film of them, carrying rocks around, and it sounds a bit ridiculous, but it makes sense. If you're weight bearing, your body is working against gravity, and it's building up the strength to just hold weight up. So that is an important activity to be engaging with. We're not going to be doing that particularly in this session, but one way of thinking about that would be, for example, handstands or forearm balance, but also just literally, carrying weights around. I've just really noticed it with my work in Studio Van. I'm moving, a lot of the work's quite physical. I felt much more stable in the sort of upright position as a consequence of, moving, bags of shopping and all the rest of it around. So it's just worth thinking about that as part of your core training. Okay. Anyway, we're going to come down onto our backs. Okay. So I wanted to sort of link in with what we were doing last week. So first of all, coming into semi-supine, what we're going to be focusing mainly on today is the flexing or contracting of the front of the body, the all fours work, and we're not going to be doing any of the, as it were, carrying heavy weights around, but that's something you could do over the next few days. Think about. So lay to rest for a moment into semi-supine, gathering your attention towards your body. So I'm going to go at a deliberately slow rhythm. I mean, you could do this. I did like a run through yesterday, and it took about 20 minutes, but it was too fast really to really get the full benefit. Okay, so we're going to go slower, but if you want to incorporate these kind of practices, you could do them faster. You don't have to do them so slowly. Okay. So I'd like to extend your right leg along the floor and the left leg bend towards you, and interlace the fingers around the back of the thigh, close to your knee, and connecting with the breath. The word breathing down towards the belly if you can. And on an inhale, we're going to extend the leg towards the vertical, pushing against the hands, the shoulders stay down. Exhale, release back to the leg towards the body, and repeat this a few times, gently waking up the legs. You can close your eyes, connected with the sensations down the back of the legs. The arms, you're pushing into the hands so the arms become straight. If you can, keeping the shoulder blades down. Okay, on our next inhale, extend the leg there, hold for a few moments. Moving the leg towards a straight leg. Projecting down through the right leg, which is along the floor. And then we're going to keep the leg there in the vertical and extend the arms up above the head along the floor. So you're making a long line between the sole of your right foot and the fingertips. Sense of lengthening down through your body from the fingertips to the sole of the foot. From the sole of the foot to the fingertips. Now to open the eyes, and if you can, I'd like to reach up towards the calf. You will need to lift the body off the floor a little bit there. And gently pull the leg towards you to intensifying that leg stretch. Moving towards a straight left leg. Checking that your neck is okay. You can look down the body towards your right foot and then see about floating your right leg off the floor. Okay. About a foot high off the floor, so foot length off the floor. It doesn't need to be really high. So here we're engaging the whole of the front of the body. So this is like this first category of core work practices that we can do. So you're keeping a sense of lengthening from the center of the body to the periphery, so down that right leg. And we're hanging off the straight left leg and release. Obviously you could hold these longer. And then we'll bring the sole of the left leg along the floor, right leg towards you, interlace the fingers around the back of the right leg. And then on an inhale, extending, exhale, folding, connecting with the sensations in the legs, particularly in the moving leg. So as the leg engages, feeling that stretch down the back of the leg. And then release with the exhale. Do a few cycles, 5 or 6 cycles, gently waking up the leg. Next time we inhale, extend, stay with the breath. Breathing now, gently pushing the leg against the hands. And then we're going to hold the leg in the vertical. Extend your arms up over the head, also along the floor. The sense of making the body long from the sole of the left foot. So I think we started with this last week. Sole of the left foot into the fingertips. So it's coming into alignment. Also engaging the straight, as it were, the standing leg, the right leg. And then we're going to reach up towards the calf. So you're going to need to pick up the head. Careful with your neck. Hanging off the calf, you can hold as high or as low as you like off your right leg. And then floating the left foot off the floor. The sense of being the lower back is supported, the sacrum is supported. And then from sort of like the mid area of the spine, gently curling away from the floor. I like to try and balance the head over the shoulders here, so I'm not hanging the head back. It's like I'm tucking the chin forwards and down. Allowing the pose to hold for a while, so we're building a little bit of strength and tone on here. Okay, and then release down. Placing now the soles of the feet onto the floor, and then you just bring your hands. I mean, I quite like to place the fists actually under the buttocks, but your hands is fine. So I quite like to just so the buttocks get a little bit of a massage here. So we're going to do some leg raise work. Okay, so this is going to get quite intense quite quickly. So we'll start off gently. So as you exhale, bring the left leg towards you. And as you inhale, extend the leg out parallel to the floor. Exhale, fold the leg in, starting off quite gently. Again, working with this Vinyasa Krama principle. So we're building up slowly. Exhale, folding in the leg. Inhale, extending out. I'm just, the best description is resting my buttocks on the hands or the fists. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, extending. Okay, now we'll take the leg up to the vertical, so as much a straight leg as possible. And as you exhale, you come down just to above the floor. Inhale to the vertical. So we're doing with a straight leg now. Exhale down. Inhale to the vertical. Again, you can close your eyes, feel your way into this. Sort of deliberately slowing things down so you can feel the body. I did this so fast. It's really very different if you do it slowly. I can see you feeling each movement. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Okay, and then bring the sole of the left foot onto the floor. We'll do the same on the right side. Exhale, folding your right leg towards you on the exhale. Inhale, extend. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, extend. So this should feel fairly gentle on the hip area. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, extend. Connecting with your breath. Moving from the breaths as we now exhale, fold in, and then inhale, take the leg up to the vertical. And then exhale down with a straight leg, up with an in-breath. Exhale down. Inhale up. So the leg stays like this image of like poker stiff. So very as straight as possible, the leg as engaged as last week I talked about the pada bandha. So you're broadening into the sole of the foot, across the balls of the feet, lengthening the toes. And then when you're ready, resting back again down into semi-supine. So you can reposition the hands or the fists under the buttocks. So you decide, okay? So yeah, having the palms flat on the floor is a bit gentler. It has to be said. So we're going to bring both legs into the body now. So again, we'll start off gently and then build up to straight legs. So as we exhale, we bring both legs in. And inhale, extend the legs parallel to the floor. So this is definitely stronger. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, extend. So the legs parallel to the floor. If this is too strong on your lower spine, what you can do is inhale, extend the legs to the vertical, and exhale, fold into your body. Inhale to the vertical and fold into the body. So just be aware of what's going on in your lower spine with this movement. So with your students, if it's too much, we don't do so much leverage with the legs, okay? So the more stability there is in the lower back, you can come more parallel to the floor. You can even play between parallel to the floor and then to the vertical. Again with the breath. Inhaling, extending. Exhale, folding in. A couple more cycles. There's going to be a few like peak moments in this sequence. So we're building up to the first peak. And then once again, rest, holds the feet to the floor. Breathe there for a moment. So my elbows are down, slightly wide, palms down, or the fists. Once again, we're going to bring both legs up into the body. So this is definitely stronger. So this is sometimes called the hinge. So we're going to take both legs up to the vertical. And as we exhale, we come parallel to the floor with the legs. Inhale, back up to the vertical. So we'll just do that a few times. Exhale down. Inhale up. This is not a beginner's movement. It can be quite strong for anybody who's got low back sensitivity. So we're exhaling down, inhaling up. So just do it as many times as is appropriate. If it's too strong, go back to folding the legs on the exhale and inhale, extending. And then once again, come back into rest. So we're going to release the hands from underneath the body. Bring the hands onto the lower belly area. Feel the warmth that you're already starting to generate now. Breathing now. So some of these practices are going to really focus in on this lower belly, front hip, thigh area. Okay. From that, I'd like you to turn around. We're going to come into all fours. Okay. Right, so close to the wall here. Okay, so you can see me okay there. So yeah, we're going to come into all fours. Let's just take a rest back into child's pose for a moment. Breathing, reconnecting with the breath. And on an inhale, coming into all fours. So the all fours position is said to be good for building core strength because you're supporting the whole length of your spine. And you'll see there's a whole load of work you can do here. So first of all, we're going to start with cat-cow, very simple. So as you exhale, you draw the belly in, look back. And as you inhale, roll the pelvis forwards and look forwards. Very simple. Exhale, curling into your center. You can deliberately and consciously draw the belly towards the spine as you exhale. And inhale, a sense of lengthening through the belly into the chest, from the pubic bone into the chest. So particularly emphasizing that gathering on the exhale of the belly towards the spine. Okay, then coming to a neutral shape, I like to bring the inner legs together, so the knees together. It's going to help with your balance. This is a tiger stretch. So as we inhale, extend one arm and the opposite leg back. On the inhale, exhale, back to all fours. And then switch side, inhale, extending out, exhale, back to all fours. And you're aiming to bring the body parallel to the floor, extending out on the inhale, exhale, All fours, alternating between two sides, sometimes called tiger stretch. Consciously moving the sense that the pelvis is level as much as you can feel that. So we have to develop our proprioceptive awareness, the awareness of our body and space. One more time on each side. Inhaling, reaching out. Exhale into all fours and then drop back for a moment into child's pose. We're going to do a variation of that in a moment, which is definitely more intense. Releasing the neck, releasing the arms. Reconnecting with your breath. Try to relax or release around the shoulders and neck. Inhaling into all fours again. So what I want us to try here is, with the exhale, we gather up the opposite foot with the hand, okay? And with the inhale, we swing out. So we're going to do the same side a few times. Exhale, you're gathering up to your center. Inhale, reaching out. It's similar, but different. Okay, so you're drawing yourself into your center line, cupping lightly the top of the shin. Inhale, reaching out. So you do 5 or 8 cycles. Smooth transitions with the breath. And then all fours, switching sides. As I said, it's helpful to have the knees fairly close to each other in terms of your knees being centered and moving to the opposite side. Inhale, reaching out. Exhale, drawing the thigh into your center line. Reaching out on the inhale. Sense of really reaching out from the center to the periphery, so from the belly all the way into the sole of the foot, into the fingertips. Should have maybe said it's helpful to have some padding under the knees. When you're ready, all fours, and rest back once again into child's pose. Release the head down. Reconnect with your breath. So as with this work, we're doing a lot of work in terms of contracting the front of the body. What I want to combine it with is a little bit of opening. So from all fours, come down onto your belly. We'll just weave this posture in. Okay, so interlace the fingers round the back of the body, resting the thumbs on the buttocks. And for like 5 or 6 breaths, we'll take Shalabhasana. So you're looking forwards, pulling the arms back and away from the body, even lifting the thumbs, lifting the legs, engaging the spinal erectus muscles up and down the spine. Breathing now. So it's again a powerful pose. Strengthening pose, releasing from there, coming down, coming back into all fours. Okay, yeah, this gets intense now. So I haven't done this for ages with you. So coming up into all fours, into dog pose, and setting the dog pose for a moment. Okay, so we're going to move here into
a similar movement that we've just been doing it from dog. So bring the feet, big toes together, so you're gathering your feet into the center line of your mat. And then reach back with your right leg up and back. So make the body really long. And then on an exhale, we're gonna swing forwards, gather the thigh in. Inhale, reach back. It's a fairly simple movement, but it's very strong. Okay. Exhale. So you're coming into a plank with one leg lifted. Inhale, reach back. Just gently, a few cycles, no rush. But I think it's better to do these precisely, not too fast. You might just want to do 3, depending on your energy this afternoon or whenever you're doing this practice. We're working on one leg. Okay, then release down. Then we'll take a pause between sides, so rest down into child's pose for a moment. So that was one leg. Releasing shoulders and neck. Reconnecting with the breath. Connecting in with a sense of your mood. So generally, and hopefully, doing yoga or doing any kind of physical activity does lift the mood, okay? So it helps to... Another thing I've been following this week is the whole story around dopamine. So dopamine is like the so-called happy hormone. So it is important that we lift that level up gently. And one of the basic ways of doing that is movement, physical activity. Okay, inhale, come to all fours. And swing up into dog pose. First of all, do feet standard distance, hip width. Open up both sides of your body. As I said, what we're doing with the core work is a sense of contracting the front of the body. So I do think it's important to give a sense of space there, lengthening out through the front of the body. Now bring your feet to the center line. And we're going to swing the left leg, extend the left leg up and back. And we're aiming to do a sort of similar number of repetitions there. So on the exhale, we swing forwards. Obviously, you're bringing weight over your hands. Inhale, swing back. Reach back with the leg. Left leg, exhale. So we're gathering up on the exhale because the exhale, naturally, the belly area draws in. So we're supporting the physical core work on the exhale there. And when you're ready, coming to all fours, resting down. Again, moving gently. These are really powerful moves. One of the side benefits of being on all fours or working on the hands, getting your hands to the floor, is to strengthen the wrist area. Okay, so it's really important. As we know, wrist problems can be really debilitating. Okay, from there, I'd like you to come once again down onto your belly and interlace the fingers. Maybe change the interlace of the fingers here, separating your feet hip width, coming into Shalabhasana for 4 or 5 breaths.
Gaze forwards and down. You can lift your arms away from the body, lift the legs, and release. So I think it'd be good to repeat that that move. Okay, it's like going to be one of the most demanding things we do in the sequence, but let's try that again. So coming up into dog pose and opening the back to the legs, bring your feet into the center line. So we'll do both sides, but maybe less repetitions on each side. So inhale, extend your right leg up and back. Exhale, swing forwards. Swing forwards. Inhale, reach back. Really getting the length with each inhale. Exhale, gathering yourself up. Coming back into dog pose, feet together. Switch side, extend your left leg back and up. And swing forward with the left leg. 4 or 5 times, and 3 or 2 if it's too much. Reaching, really reaching back on each inhale. And then from there, inhale or force. I'd like you to separate your knees here and thread both arms through the thighs and rest down. Again, resting your forehead down. Let your breath calm again. They're kind of like dynamic yoga moves. Emphasizing building strength rather than length and stretching out the body. Again, releasing the shoulders, the neck. And then from there, coming up. And we're going to come into, once again, into a force. Okay, so this is a variation on side plank, but we're going to build this up. So the first one is pretty easy. Okay, so your right leg extends out to the side, in line with the left leg. And then I'm going to turn to my right. Okay, so you're bringing your weight. You can play around with the position of your left hand. So it comes underneath your left shoulder. And just get a sense of being in the side plank position. So we're not, that more than anything, there's a bit of weight bearing into the left hand. Obviously here, the left knee is supporting your center body weight. Okay, release down and switch sides. So your right knee in line with the right wrist, more or less. Left leg in line with the right leg. Looking to get point of balance there. Playing with the right hand position. And I'm looking out to the side. Lengthening through both sides of the waist. Shoulders moving away from the ears. Should be fairly gentle. I'm grounding the left foot. Okay. That's going to be relevant when we come to the next version. Okay, then once again, coming down to all fours. So now I'm going to drop down onto my left forearm and extend my right foot out. So I'm just going to reposition so I can try and bring the right foot onto the mat. Okay, so I'm going to try to prop myself up. So the left foot rests on top of the right foot. Prop myself up here in a side plank.
full side plank, and maybe extend the right arm up. So my right foot is grounded, my left foot is resting on top of the right foot. Should feel the side body working, side thigh, gluteal, left gluteal. Gonna find one side easier than the other. Okay, coming down, dropping the top arm, all fours. So do lengthen out yourself along your mat. So now my right forearm comes down. I'm placing the left foot down, rooting the left foot, left sole of the foot on the floor, and I'm placing the right foot on top of the left foot, swinging into a side plank balance. Lifting the left arm up, breathing there. So this is working the core in the sense of keeping the whole body stable, as it were, propped at the ends. So you're having to really hold the middle of the body. Breathing. In terms of working with low back issues, side plank is said to be really useful. So I've showed you another one where we do it from the knees. Okay, and then swinging round, carefully all fours. Let's just rest again into child's pose. Rest the forehead down. Rest the arms. Hopefully that's feeling okay, huh? I think we should do that again. I really enjoyed that. That was definitely better than yesterday. Okay, so come to all fours. If you don't want to do it again, that's fine, okay? You can just watch other people do. That's really fine. So you bring the forearm down, left forearm, my right foot down, and then I'm placing the left foot on top of the right foot and swinging up the right arm. You don't need to be in a perfect straight line, okay? There's a sense of propping out the middle of the body. The good thing here is there's less weight bearing on the arm, so you're not, there's less weight bearing on the wrist. It's similar to Vashisthasana. Breathing there. Okay, and then releasing down. Wow. I'm sure you could stay longer. You're welcome to in your own practice. Play with timings, longer timings. Definitely don't want to be going too fast, okay? Don't want to be flying through this. Take your time to set up. So I'm grounding my left foot, my right forearm is down. Careful with the neck. Sense of balance. Engaging the left leg, the left arm, center of the body, and when you're ready, releasing down, all fours. And then once again, we'll do this child's pose where we thread the arms through the legs. So that gives a little bit of gentle pressure stretch to the outer upper arms. Letting your head rest down. Reconnecting with the breath. Letting the body rest for a few moments. And okay, yeah. So I was going to do plank, but I think we'll leave that one off, given that we've repeated. But that would be an obvious place to do plank or dolphin or something like that. But I'm going to come into a position. Let's see if this works, where I'm really close to the wall. But the idea is to come into. Yeah, that works. I thought it'd be better to have my head facing the camera rather than my buttocks. So we're going to come into a T shape, okay? Ideally, you've got a bit of space all around you, okay? Now you can ground your palms down or you can have the palms up, it's up to you. But we do, at various points, engage the arms towards
the floor, so you keep a sense of a broad upper body with the elbows and shoulders grounded. Yeah. So as you exhale, I want you to swing the legs to one side, but that before you touch the floor, inhale back to the center line and exhale to the opposite side. So we're keeping the legs together as much as possible. Exhale to one side. Inhale to center. Exhale to the opposite side. The legs are bent. You can engage the arms towards the floor to give you a little bit of support here. Exhale out to one side just before you meet the floor. Inhale back up to center line. And exhale to the opposite side. So again, a couple more times. So this is sometimes called Jatara Parivritasana. Inhale to center and just take a pause there. You could even embrace your shins, rest your thighs into your chest for a moment. So what we're going to try now is the same thing, but with straight legs. This gets really intense I remember when I was first learning this years ago, this is just so intense on the abdominal areas. So if it's too much, do bend the knees. So the legs go up to the vertical, legs together as much as possible. And the idea is to do the same things as you exhale. Take legs to one side just before you meet the floor. Inhale, back up to center. This is kind of very Iyengar. Exhale towards the floor. Engage the arms, both shoulder blades down. Inhale, back to center. So it should feel pretty strong. Yeah? Exhale. A couple more times each side. Inhale to center. Okay, next time you come to your first side, we're going to completely drop the legs to the floor and come into a more quiet, twisted position. The legs drop to the floor. The legs more or less straight there, but not active. So release the legs, release the buttocks, relax around the shoulders. Letting the breath again come to a more gentle rhythm. When you're ready, you can bend the knees, swing the legs to the opposite side again. Long legs or lengthening legs. We're coming into the twist where the legs rest on the floor. Both shoulder blades down. The gaze, well, I've got my eyes closed, but the gaze can be up towards the ceiling. And then again, gather your knees in towards your center. Rest for a moment with the knees towards the chest. You can embrace your shins. So we're going to stay in this supine position for the next couple of moves. So I'd like to bring your knees towards the outer ribs, your feet up, coming into what's sometimes called stirrup pose or happy baby pose. So you can take hold of the inner heels. Some people like to take hold of the big toes. And another position is the outer feet. So you could play, or even the tops of the feet. I quite like to work with that. So it stretches the wrist out a little bit. So yeah, I find my tailbone lifts. You can allow the pelvis to sink back down. It's more of a passive stretch for the inner legs. Try to release the neck, shoulders. Your shins more or less perpendicular to the floor, and your knees can go wide. So you allow, so we take the knees wide, so that gives space for your legs, or it gives space in the hip for your hip joint to open. Obviously, if you've got your knees on your chest, then you're limiting the movement there. So we take the knees, the thighs wider to allow the pelvis to open more. Okay, and then releasing down. So again, you could bring the soles of the feet to the floor, or just embrace your shins. Checking that you're releasing your neck. Okay, and then I want to bring your hands to the inner knees. Okay, so I've got my shins. They're kind of, the legs are bent, should we say? Okay, the shins don't need to be parallel to the floor. The legs are bent. So I'm going to push the inner legs out. And then as I exhale, I'm going to resist the work on the inner legs and pull the knees back together on the exhale. Okay, so inhale, open. Exhale, resist, and you should feel the inner legs really work. It's an area that's often quite weak in the body. You know, I can feel that area shaky. It's like the adductors. Exhale, resist. Pull the legs back together a few times. Inhale, we open. Exhale, pulling back, but resisting with the hands. So having the inner leg stronger is said to be supportive for the core. So it supports the pelvis, therefore supports the spine. Okay, we'll just take a rest. Again, either soles of the feet to the floor, or resting the legs towards your chest, interlacing the fingers. So you can imagine where we're going to go next. So we're going to take the legs up to the vertical. Again, your inner legs you're taking with your hands. So the idea is to keep the legs straight. Inhale, opening. Exhale, drawing the legs back in with resistance. Inhale, opening. We'll do this 5 times. 2, resisting. Inhale, opening. 3. Inhale, opening. 4. Inhale, opening, and then stay wide. See if you can relax into that. I mean, I don't find this particularly relaxing, I have to say, but see if you can make a little bit less effort. So it's still projecting through the legs. You've got the weight of the arms on the inner legs, but then what we can do is bring the palms together And look between the legs. You're pulling your hands through the legs, looking between the legs and holding for a minute. So the head is lifting. And then I'm going to take the hands around the outer thighs, outer legs, draw myself back into center and breathe and rest for a moment. Okay, so that's really intense on the adductors and hip flexors to a certain extent now. Breathing. Let's just try that one more time. So legs go up to the vertical. Inhale, go wide, stay wide. Palms together and pull yourself through the legs. It's like you're reaching through, head lifting. And then when you're ready, gather yourself into your center line. Embrace the shins. And breathe there. Okay, from there, we're going to roll over to one side. Once again, we're going to meet again Shalabhasana. So I'd like to come down onto your belly and interlace the fingers around the back of the body, lengthening out the front of each leg. And then reach back with the backs to the hands, looking forwards, engaging the thighs. This is going to be the last visit to this position. Shalabhasana, so engaging the spinal column, gaze forwards and down, projecting the back hands. You can lift the thumbs away from the body. So it's a simple, powerful, low back bend. When you're ready, releasing. Okay, and from there, coming up to all fours, and then coming into sitting. So with this sequence and with last week's sequence, we've got a really complete set from us of sort of what we call core work. So if you, those of you who've done our training, you remember we give a session, a day to core work. So this is drawing on those practices. So this is probably my least favorite. But I think they're good to do from time to time. So this is a sequence from Sadhita, actually, called the fire sequence. So we're going to drop back onto the forearms. Now, one thing you want to watch here is to try to keep the pelvis, how to say this, try to avoid it collapsing to the floor. So you try to avoid the pelvis rolling back. Try to keep a sense of the mid section of the body long. You could even slightly tip the pelvis forwards. And I quite like to even have the hands round the hips here. So I'm really aware of what the hips are doing. So we're going to start with soles of the feet onto the floor. And then as we inhale, we extend one leg. And then exhale back to the floor. And then just alternating. But the feet stay on the floor. Inhale, extending. Exhale back. Inhale, extending. Exhale back. And the other thing to watch out for is care with the neck. So there's a sense of keeping the head propped over the shoulders. I'm just alternating between one leg, grounding the foot on the exhale. Inhale, extending. Sense of keeping the waist area long, chest lifted and broad. Okay, and coming to pause. So a little bit more intensive is to float the feet off the floor. Inhale, extending, and then switch. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, extend. So I'm inhaling during the transition, exhaling as I draw the leg in, inhaling as I straighten the leg out. And then both feet onto the floor. Let's just take a pause. So you allow the back of the body to rest on the floor, to really quietening from the shoulders to the back of the head. The one thing we don't want to be doing with the fire sequence is creating tension in the neck. I mean, we've got the neck in a certain amount of flexion there and holding the position, but try not to be generating tension there. So allowing the body to become quiet again. Softening the face, shoulders, neck. Okay, and then rolling to one side, re-establishing the position on the forearms. So let me see. I'm going to have to change my position here. Otherwise, I'm going to run out of space. So I'm going to face you. So this is a really intense version. Okay, so we extend the legs forwards, and then exhale, bring the legs in. So together. So hang on, let's do that sideways. So on the inhale, extending, exhale, drawing the legs in. So this is both legs together, inner legs engaging towards each other. So it's like coming in and out of a Navasana. Waist area long. Definitely stronger. And dropping the feet down for a moment. Okay, and then just one last one. So this one, yeah, I am going to try to demonstrate facing the camera. So what we're going to do, I'll just describe it and then we'll have a go. You lift the legs out and you cross the legs and take them wide. So I'm going to cheat a bit. I've got my head resting on the wall. So I'm going to take the legs forwards, cross the legs, and then open wide and cross the legs the opposite way. Inhale, opening. Exhale, crossing. Inhale, opening. Exhale, crossing. So you might just do that. Oh my God. This is tough. Okay, you might just do 3 or 4. Take a rest. So this is definitely a useful trick, is to rest the head to the wall. Okay. Try that. Take a rest and then repeat, okay? Just going to try it without the wall. Okay, so the idea is to extend the legs forwards. Inhale. So we exhale, cross the legs. Inhale, open. Cross the opposite way. Okay, so that's one to practice, definitely. Okay, let's rest down onto the floor. So it's like crossing the thighs, open the legs, okay? It's like the 3rd or 4th variation. So coming into just a simple resting pose for a moment. So all these practices do generate quite a bit of heat. Okay. So I'd like us once again to float the legs up towards us. We're going to come into, again, a passive hip stretch. So coming into the happy baby pose again. Taking maybe a different hand position. So taking hold of the inner heels. Take the big toes. Releasing the neck. Allow the sacrum, pelvis to sink back towards the floor. So we're going to move into like a more passive part of the practice now, the last few poses. So I wanted to connect in a bit with what we did last week, sort of a sense of symmetry, in terms of opening the groins. This is more like a yin style pose, this pose, a happy baby pose or stirrup pose. It's a passive, using gravity to gently open across the groins, allowing the body to cool down, releasing any obvious tension in the body, and wherever you find it, really, but see if you can release the shoulders, the face. Okay, and releasing down from there, soles of feet to the floor, rolling to one side, coming up to sitting, and we're going to take the legs wide. So I've got absolutely no equipment here. So yeah, you know, it would be useful maybe to have a bolster in front of you if you had one. But we're just going to come into a passive forward fold here. Okay, so I'd just like to, so last week we did a whole sequence based around this pose, but here we're just going to allow ourselves to release forwards, knowing that you're not going to come to the floor. You know, that's fine. Well, some of you might. That's also fine, but the point is just to be really quiet in the pose for a few minutes or a couple of minutes. You can even let the legs become quite passive. So it's again a yin style pose, so minimal muscular effort once you set the alignment up, and then just allowing the body to let go and release forwards into sometimes called dragonfly, or Bodhiyoga-56-core-strength-Part-2 as its Sanskrit name. So again, we've done a lot of like dynamic work on the inner legs. Now it's a more passive lengthening out. Should feel fairly good, fairly pleasant. Well, within reason. You've got a lot of resistance there, might not feel so pleasant. There's a sense of releasing out, gently lengthening out the tissues. So in this sequence, we've explored doing core work on the basis of flexing the front of the body. So that's contracting the front of the body to make that happen. Last week, we did a similar practice. So you engage the front of the body, and we've done work on all fours. So that just leaves, you can go out and pick up some rocks and carry some rocks around later on, which is also really good for developing core strength. Yeah, so it's basically carrying. Okay, it doesn't have to be rocks, but something, and it has to be done wisely. Yeah, so not straining, carrying appropriate weights, keeping the weight close into your body. Otherwise, you can just aggravate the lower back and so on. So allowing your body to release forwards without forcing. There's like a passive releasing and opening. And then from there, so again, we could stay longer, I'm sure, but we'll come up very slowly. And again, because we've been working a lot around the hips, I want us to stretch out the outer hips. So bring for example, your left leg to straight in front of you, and then cross your right thigh, right leg over your left leg, and we can embrace. So I'm just going to turn my angle. So I want to be coming towards the vertical line with the spine, because it's going to be a very simple Marichyasana twist. So what this does is stretch out the outer hip area. So we're going to swing to the right and hooking my left elbow around the right thigh and turning towards my right. I'm trying to keep, I can use my right hand here to support the vertical lifting. So it doesn't need to be really full on. It's just gentle lengthening up. So yeah, the idea is to stretch out from the sacrum around the outer buttock area gently. You can close the eyes. I'll keep the neck fairly neutral, so the head is facing the same direction as the chest. You can gently grow the spine in this pose. Again, we're going to stay a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Feeling the ground underneath you. So the left leg, straight leg, is gently, when I'm fully lengthening out, so you can feel the whole of the back of the left leg on the floor. Personally, I'd quite like to have the straight leg slightly active, very gently active. So it gives a sense of anchoring through that straight leg. So a little bit of slight intimation, if you like, of Padabandha through that left leg. Broadening across the toes, bases. Okay, and we're going to release round. So all we're going to do is set ourselves up onto the opposite side. So your right leg comes out, left leg crosses and embrace. Coming towards the vertical, hooking your right elbow, inner elbow around the front of the left shin. Now, once again, growing the spine. You can use your left hand behind you to grow your spine. Sense of being anchored through the floor, through the earth element, through the right leg. And then when you're ready, once again, unwinding there. So we're going to come down. Just going to check on the time, actually. Okay, this is good. Yeah, so we're going to come down into Shavasana for a few minutes. I'd like us to come up into sitting for a few minutes. So do make sure you're going to be warm enough. Okay. And we're going to just do a few minutes of each practice. So it is important. I know it's so easy to not do Shavasana, and it's so easy, in some ways it's so easy not to be still. So we're just going to be really conscious about doing that for a few minutes. So when you come down into Shavasana, making sure you come down in a straight line, you can do those adjustments on the spine where you bring there's a sense of moving the pelvis towards the feet. That's best done from semi-supine. So you lift the pelvis and move it towards the feet. Embrace yourself for a moment and then open the arms away from the body and then tucking the chin slightly towards your chest area. So the sense of lengthening the back of the neck. I actually quite like to just run the fingertips from along the neckline, either side, up to the occipital area, in the sense of drawing like the flesh, the skin away from the shoulders. So I'm really conscious about the position of the neck. And then we're lying down for a few moments. So we did some quite strong movements there, powerful movements. You probably still feel the heat in the body. And again, we've been stimulating dopamine. So being like a bit obsessed with this theme these last few days. So there's three things. I might as well just share this. So dopamine is really important in terms of well-being. It's a hormone, as far as I understand. Hormone is released in the brain. And there's three things that are really important for you want to be maintaining a base level of dopamine. Okay, so you can get peak dopamine experiences from time to time, but you've got to be careful with those, right? So like peak experiences result in peak dopamine, but you want to be looking to keep a baseline up. So one of the things really interesting is just sleeping well. So a good night's rest is really fundamental in terms of maintaining healthy dopamine levels. And whether it's 6 hours or 7 hours or 8 hours, but there's a sense of consistency with your sleep. And then secondly, so one of the practices that this guy is recommending is when you wake up, you take in sunlight, not direct sun, indirect sunlight, even if it's cloudy, for about 15-20 minutes, unfiltered by windows. It's just like get outside basically for 15 minutes. And that stimulates cortisol apparently, which you want to be peaking in the morning so it drops off in the afternoon. And then the third thing, is I've already mentioned, it's like physical activity. It's really important to do some sort of physical activity during the day. Whatever that might be, it doesn't have to be yoga, it could be going for a walk, whatever. It's really simple. And then a fourth area is just making sure that we eat well. So it's like eat well, sleep well, bit of exercise, some sunlight in the morning. So simple. So whilst we're here now, just releasing the limbs. Sense of releasing the legs from the hip area, the arms from the shoulder area. And being in, if you can, developing a sense of broad awareness, whole body awareness. So we're resting here consciously. Giving yourself permission to rest. Okay, I'm sure it'd be great to stay here. So do feel free to stay on. But if you like, we're going to go up to meditation posture for a few minutes. So not being in a rush to do that, bring the soles of the feet onto the floor. Slowly rolling to one side. And then just coming into whatever is going to be available to you. Given maybe, I just don't have any cushions or anything. So I'm just going to try coming into a simple upright position. Bring the spine into the vertical. You can allow the eyes to close and feeling the floor underneath the sitting bones. Sense of your spine growing through the vertical axis. Your hands resting on your lap or on your thighs. And for a few moments, we're going to follow the breath. Really simple. In principle, simple practice, breath awareness. Checking that you're not straining anywhere. If you can, releasing. At the same time, being aware of any tension in the body, letting it be there. And seeing if it's possible to release. And with the last moment or two, we can just appreciate what we've just done together. Move through that core strengthening practice. I just like to say that I really appreciate that you've come along today. And when you're ready in your own time, you can close this session. Thank you very much.